What does it really mean to talk to a woman and control her mind? Not like a desperate man seeking validation, not like a performer trying to earn a smile, but like a strategist. A man who knows precisely what to say, why he says it, and when to say nothing at all. Most men fail in this art because they speak from hunger, the hunger for attention, approval, and affirmation. And in that hunger, they lower themselves without realizing it. Then they wonder why no one takes them seriously. Today that ends. You will kill the habit of chasing and begin speaking from power. Because talking to a woman and truly dominating her mind is a dangerous game. It's not for the timid. Only those who understand it become the men she cannot forget, cannot dismiss, and cannot replace. It was never your appearance, your bank account, or your degrees. The difference is this. Some men understand female psychology. The rest wander in frustration, forever confused. So here it is. The Machiavellian method to ignite desire without begging for it. To dominate her emotions without ever touching her. To make her look at you not as someone to entertain her, but as someone she cannot resist obeying. If you freeze when speaking to women, if you feel like she's counting the seconds until the conversation ends, if you constantly end up as the emotional support character, that ends now. Because when you speak to a woman, you're not just sharing thoughts, you're sharing power. In the first 5 seconds, she doesn't care about your words. She feels your energy. If you're insecure, she senses it. If you're anxious, she sees it. If you're performing, she knows it. And the moment she feels that you're trying to win her over, you've already lost. The man who holds power never performs for attention. He speaks as if his truth is sufficient, because it is. And that is magnetic. Most men destroy desire before it has a chance to take root. Not because they are bad, but because they speak from a place of submission. Their words scream desperation. Please like me. Please don't reject me. That energy repels desire. If you need to convince a woman to see your value, you're already beneath her. And no woman desires the man she feels above. Comfort never breeds desire. Control never breeds craving. A woman may like the nice guy. She may appreciate the effort, but she never burns for him. She doesn't lie awake wondering what he's doing or imagining him in her life, because he's predictable. She owns him. And desire doesn't live where ownership begins. Most men walk into conversations already defeated. They shower her with compliments she hasn't earned. They avoid tension at all costs, agreeing with everything she says. They laugh at their own jokes. They overcompensate. And deep down, she feels it. He needs me more than I need him. And in that moment, attraction dies. Not because she's cold, but because she's wired to desire tension, mystery, unpredictability. Real desire awakens when a woman meets a man who doesn't filter his thoughts to please her, who isn't moved by her looks or impressed by her status. A man who lives in a reality where her validation is optional, not necessary. And that kind of man is a glitch in her system. Everyone else plays the same game. Compliments, chasing, approval seeking. But he walks with self-possession. He confuses her ego. And confusion is the root of craving. Humans are wired to notice what doesn't fit the pattern. Women are no exception. A man who doesn't rush to fill silence, who isn't fazed by her tests, who doesn't react emotionally, he becomes unforgettable. He becomes the question she cannot answer. And in that question, desire is born, because she cannot crave what she fully understands. Predictability is attraction's death. Most men act like emotional servants. Their sentences, their text messages, their entire energy says, "Please see me, please pick me." But the truth is brutal. When you speak like a needy man, you become a child in her eyes. And no woman craves a child. She may adore him, feel sympathy, even care deeply. But she will never fantasize about him. A woman will never desire the man she fully understands. She cannot chase the man she already emotionally controls. The moment you stop existing for her approval, everything changes. Her beauty no longer intimidates you. Her silence no longer scares you. Her attention stops being the reward you chase. Your entire energy becomes, "I've seen beauty, show me more." Her indifference no longer rattles you. You begin to lead yourself. And that changes everything. Suddenly she starts working to keep your attention. She texts first. She invests more. She starts to test you not out of dominance, but out of curiosity. Is he real? Why can't I control him? She begins to crave your presence, because it's no longer free. You become the thought she can't shake, the man who enters her mind and lingers long after you're gone. And that's the beginning of real dominance. Most men will never understand that when you talk to a woman, you're not speaking to her logic. You're not even speaking to her emotions. You're speaking to her ego, that radar behind her eyes, always scanning for one thing: weakness. Not just stuttering or nervous laughter, but energy. Energy that says, "I hope I'm enough." Energy that screams fear. Even if you smile, even if you say all the right things, she feels it. And in that moment, her subconscious whispers, "Another one I can control. Another one I don't need to chase." She doesn't reject you outright. She simply forgets you. You become like every other man, gone before you even arrive. Now imagine the opposite. You walk in with calm. Your tone is steady. You're not rushing to fill silence. You speak slowly, with intention. You pause like a man who's used to being heard. That's what changes the game. Your calm presence speaks louder than any line. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to be tall. Because your energy says, "I'm enough." That creates tension, curiosity. She cannot define you, and that confusion is addictive. Women aren't drawn to what they fully grasp. They're drawn to what they can't explain. If you don't react to her tests, if you stay unshaken in the face of her moods, if you don't chase the silence with nervous filler, she doesn't know what to make of you. You're not the nice guy. You're not the player. You're something else. And her ego starts whispering, "Why can't I figure him out? Why do I want his attention now?" Speak to her ego, not her ears. That's where real power lives. Most men try to impress women with clever lines, compliments, stories, but words alone don't create desire. Signals do. Energy does. Your presence does. It's not about what you say. It's about what she feels while you say it. Machiavelli understood the brutal truth. The most powerful language is never direct. It's the kind that forces interpretation. Because when she has to interpret, her imagination gets involved. And what she imagines, she begins to desire. If your words are predictable, "You're beautiful," "I like you," "Please like me," she shuts off. She's heard it all before. There's no challenge, no mystery, no reason for her mind to engage. Most men talk endlessly to hold her attention, but desire doesn't live in words. It lives in mystery, silence, and tension. If your energy is calm, your speech deliberate, your presence composed, she starts to wonder, why isn't he trying to impress me? Why does it feel like he could walk away at any moment? That uncertainty hooks her ego, and in that uncertainty, she begins to crave you. Not for what you say, but for how you leave her feeling. Give her questions, not answers. Tension, not comfort. Because men desire what they see. Women desire what they imagine. When you give her every compliment, every reassurance, her mind shuts off. But when you drop a line, "There's something about you that attracts me and unsettles me," and then fall silent, you create a psychological hook she cannot ignore. Her mind fills in the gaps. Her imagination does the rest. The moment she begins imagining you, You're no longer just a man. You're a presence, a mystery, a tension she cannot resolve. And unresolved tension is the birthplace of obsession. She starts replaying your words, not because of what you said, but because you didn't finish the thought. You dropped a spark and left it burning. And then you disappeared. You didn't text. You didn't follow up with explanations. You didn't try to keep the fire going, because you understand this truth. Real obsession grows in absence, not presence. Step 1 is to leave the conversation unfinished. Don't wrap it up with a bow. Don't explain. Don't try to make her feel comfortable. You say the line, "There's something about you that attracts me and unsettles me." And then stop. Say nothing else. Let the silence do the work. Because her mind will pick up the thread you left hanging. She'll ask herself what you meant, why you felt that way, why you didn't elaborate. That's how obsession starts. Not with words, but with psychological open loops that never close. Step 2 is to control your absence. Most men fear silence, thinking it means she'll forget them. But disappearing is a strategy. You're not ghosting her, you're creating gravity. When you vanish after making an emotional impact, her thoughts pull you back in. She replays everything, your tone, your expression, the silence. And each time she replays it, the memory becomes more powerful than the moment itself. You become more than just a man. You become an idea. Step 3 is letting her imagination work for you. While you're gone, she starts to construct her own versions of you. She wonders, why did he say that? What does he see in me? Was he testing me? And here's the psychology. What she imagines, she personalizes. What she personalizes, she invests in. Her fantasies are no longer about a stranger. They're about you, because you planted the seed and let her mind water it. Then comes step 4. Reappear with mystery, not explanation. Don't come back with apologies. Don't say, "Sorry, I've been busy." You don't owe her that. Instead, you drop in soft, ambiguous, compelling sparks. A message like, "Heard a song, made me think of you." Or, "Had the strangest dream, not sure if I should tell you." Or just, "You crossed my mind." It's dangerous when that happens. Simple, unclear, but powerful. Why does it work? Because you are now living in her subconscious. You gave her something she couldn't explain, then let silence and absence feed it. You didn't chase. You didn't explain. You reappeared with the same quiet power you left with. And she feels it. Her thoughts never stopped. Now her emotions are catching up. Here's the final truth. You don't need to perform. You don't need to impress. You don't need to prove. Real influence happens in the space between words. Real desire is built in the silence, in the mystery, in the tension that lives in the gaps. When you learn to speak like this, you aren't just talking to her. You're whispering directly to her subconscious. You're not delivering lines, you're leaving echoes, and those echoes grow louder in your absence. Most men try to stay relevant by being present, by texting daily, by asking questions, by being available. But the Machiavellian man understands that relevance is not maintained through repetition. It is created through impact. You say less, but it stays longer. You leave her not with answers, but with questions. And the human brain cannot let go of unanswered questions. Here's what you'll notice when you master this. You talk less, she talks more. You explain less, she invests more. You disappear, but she keeps thinking about you. Because she's no longer just responding to a conversation. She's responding to the emotional disturbance you left in her mind. Now let's go deeper. When you speak in the language of desire, it's not about being clever. It's not about finding the perfect phrase. It's about how you say what you say. Your tone, your rhythm, your silence. That's what carries weight. That's what bypasses her logic and speaks directly to her instincts. A man who talks fast, fills every pause, and explains everything communicates one thing: insecurity. But the man who speaks slowly, deliberately, who chooses silence like a weapon, he radiates power. You say something, then stop. Let it linger. Let her absorb it. Let her wonder what's coming next. That's how tension is built. And tension is the currency of desire. Start with calm energy. No urgency. You walk in like her reaction won't alter your emotional state. You speak like your words carry gravity. You use eye contact, not as a plea, but as an assessment. Like you're reading her, not begging her to read you. You drop the line, carefully, slowly. There's something about you that attracts me and unsettles me. Then silence. Most men can't handle the silence. They get nervous. They keep talking. They break the spell. But you wait, because that silence is where the magic happens. Her mind starts spinning. Her ego becomes involved. Her curiosity spikes. And you say nothing. That's the hook. In that moment, you've achieved what most men never do. You've spoken to her ego and her emotions at the same time. You've shown interest and restraint, desire and discipline. You've created a paradox, and the human brain is wired to solve paradoxes. Her mind will replay that moment again and again, not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't say, because of what you made her feel. Desire does not come from long conversations. It comes from tension, from restraint, from unresolved emotion. That's the difference between being memorable and being unforgettable. A memorable man is one she enjoyed. An unforgettable man is one she can't stop thinking about. And here's the tragedy for most men. They never learn this. They talk. They try. They perform. They seek permission. They never understand that attraction isn't something you force. It's something you allow her to experience. And the way she experiences it is through mystery, through power, through your absence, through your silence, through your control of your own emotions. She remembers how you made her feel when she couldn't predict your next move. Let that sink in, because if she felt curiosity, she will think of you again. If she felt tension, she will replay the moment. If she felt a hint of danger or desire or confusion, you now live in her head, rent-free. That's how you dominate a conversation without dominating the space. That's how you speak without begging to be heard. You stop trying to be the attention, and instead, you become the thing attention gravitates to. She doesn't remember every word. She remembers the weight of your presence. She remembers the feeling of not having control. And oddly, that feeling pulls her in more than any compliment ever could. Most men spend their time telling women how great they are. They hope to be seen. They hope to be chosen. But that's the voice of a servant, not a strategist. A servant performs. A strategist watches. A strategist listens. He speaks with intention and lets silence speak louder than noise. His absence is more powerful than another man's presence, because the real secret is not in speaking louder. It's in being felt deeper. When you operate this way, her mind becomes your battlefield, not through force, not through aggression, but through subtle psychological gravity. And she won't even know why. She'll just find herself thinking about you, remembering something you said, replaying a moment you didn't finish, asking herself why she can't figure you out. And the more she thinks, the deeper the hook goes. You didn't dominate her with charm. You dominated her with stillness. You became unforgettable, not by chasing, but by retreating at just the right moment, not by performing, but by pausing, not by speaking, but by making her listen. She listens for what you didn't say. She searches your silence for meaning. She rewinds moments to feel them again. hoping to decode what made them stick. And the irony? You never gave her everything. You never gave her answers. You gave her the space to imagine, and that space became desire. Because when a woman begins filling in the blanks with her own fantasies, she's no longer passive in the interaction. She's emotionally invested. Her imagination is now tied to you, and whatever she imagines, she feels. Not because you gave her permission, but because you didn't restrict her mind from wandering. This is where true influence begins, not in the words spoken, but in the restraint, in the gaps, in the moment you resist the need to explain yourself, when you let mystery sit beside her like a second presence in the room. She doesn't know what it is. She only knows she wants more. And that feeling, that hunger without clarity, is what creates addiction. Most men will try to resolve this. They'll try to clarify, reassure, stabilize. They'll ruin the very fire they sparked because they don't understand this one law. Comfort is forgettable, but tension is addictive. The more she imagines you, the more personal you become. And the deeper that personalization goes, the more she attaches feelings to your image, even in your absence, especially in your absence. Because now, you're no longer just a man. You're a thought, a tension, a story she wants to finish, a mystery she wants to solve. And that mystery, it grows without you saying a single extra word. Now, let's talk about re-entry. The moment you reappear in her life cannot feel like you've been waiting. It cannot feel like you've been desperate to reconnect. You return calm, collected, centered. You offer no explanations. You carry no guilt. You carry mystery. You drop a line so subtle yet so powerful, it keeps her mind spinning again. I had a dream. You were in it. I don't remember much, but I woke up curious. You've just lit another fuse. Notice the pattern. You don't perform. You don't seek permission. You don't explain. And because of that, she leans in. Every time you enter her life, it's not with force. It's with gravitational pull. You never take. You invite. You let her come to you. And when she does, she doesn't realize it's her ego chasing you. She thinks she's curious. She thinks she's just trying to understand. But the truth is, she's already entangled. Her mind has done all the work for you. Why does this work? Because you're not trying to be the hero of her story. You're the question mark in her chapter. She doesn't know how it ends. She doesn't know who you are yet. That unknown is powerful. That silence between your words, it echoes louder than noise. That absence, it grows more powerful with time. This is not manipulation. It's not deceit. It's power. The kind of power that comes from self-possession, from a refusal to be emotionally available on command. You don't exist to entertain her. You exist with or without her. And that independent energy, it's what makes you irresistible. Because now, she's the one investing. She's the one seeking clues. She's the one feeling unbalanced. And for the first time, her ego isn't in control. That's when attraction turns into obsession. And it all began not with clever words, but with presence, with stillness, with your ability to hold your emotional frame while the world around you reacts. Here's the greatest truth few men understand. Attraction isn't built during the interaction. It's built after it, in the quiet, in the absence, in the spaces between contact. When you stop talking, when you let her imagination take over. That's when desire multiplies. That's when emotional investment deepens. That's when you're no longer just a man, but a presence in her subconscious. Presence beats performance. Every time. She won't remember every line you spoke, but she will remember how she felt. Tense, off balance, curious. She'll remember the way you looked at her like you were reading her, not needing her. She'll remember the silence you didn't rush to break. She'll remember the mystery that never got solved. And that unsolved mystery, that's the open loop her mind cannot let go of. While other men rush to be liked, rush to explain, rush to fix her bad days with texts and emojis, you remain a still force. Calm, grounded, unbothered. And in doing so, you do something few ever master. You become rare. And rare is irresistible. When you become rare, you become valuable. And when you are valuable, you don't chase. You don't beg. You don't perform tricks to hold her attention. You allow her to feel the weight of your absence, the echo of your last words, the unspoken truth in your silence. And that experience haunts her in the best way. This is not a game. This is the art of subtle dominance. Most men want to be understood. They want to be clear, but you want to be felt. You want to be impossible to define. You want to leave her wondering after you walk away, who was he really? And if she's asking that, then you've already won. Because while the others are remembered for what they said, you're remembered for what you didn't say, and what you made her feel. Understand this. It's not your job to convince her of your value. It's your job to live in a way that makes her question how she lived without you. You are not the comfort zone. You are not the therapist. You are not the reliable listener for every emotional outburst. You are the unknown, the contrast, the danger, the calm confidence that enters and exits without seeking permission. This is how a man speaks with power. This is how you dominate a conversation without raising your voice. This is how you occupy a woman's mind without chasing her attention. She begins to pursue the man who doesn't need her approval. She invests in the one she cannot predict. She fantasizes about the one who didn't try to impress her. She becomes addicted to the silence you left behind. So stop chasing, stop explaining, stop asking for permission to exist in her world. Exist fully in your own, and let her earn her way into it. Speak less, move slower, lead yourself, because when you do, you are no longer just a man in front of her. You are the presence she feels when you're gone, the voice she hears in the quiet, the tension she replays when she lies awake at night. That is how you dominate her mind without ever raising your voice. That is the Machiavellian way of speaking. That is real power.